is Shambhavi. Hope you all are doing well. So basically, now today we are going to make a game, and that is game is rock, paper, and scissors. So before moving forward, let me just show you the final output of this program that we'll be writing out today. Right? So here we are, and here I just need to write out. Here we go. So basically, right, this is a whole window that would be appearing as a final output for you for the rare rock, paper, and the scissor game. Now you're able to see that the score for computer, score for the user. Here are three buttons: rock, paper, or scissor. That's what you want to choose. And let's say I just choose the rock. So in that case, the computer has shown the random hand, and that is basically the paper, and the user is having the stone, right? That is basically the rock. So in that case, basically the computer has got the score, that is 1. Now let's say if I just click on the paper, so again the computer has scissor and the user has the paper. So in that case, again the computer has got a score. Here again the computer has got the score, right? So this is actually how it works, and this is how actually the user and the computer gets some changes. So let's say now I just click on this. So user has got a score, that is 1 now. Right, so this is a random one. Here basically nothing is absolutely chosen before. The things that like the rock or the paper, the scissor comes random from the computer side and random from the user side as well. So all those things are written by you inside the code, that what to choose, what not to choose, and all those things, right? And basically when the computer wins, so here you will be able to see that computer wins. Otherwise when you win, so you'll be able to see that you win. Okay, let's say now again you win, right? Now basically see it's a tie, right? So basically for the tie also we have. So basically now it is showing that you lose because the computer has now win. Right, this is the whole idea regarding the program, regarding the game that we are going to make today, and that is our rock, paper, scissor game. Right, so as you are able to see that this is a GUI project. So all the GUI projects are made with the help of the Tkinter library. Right, so we'll be using out the Tkinter library and making out this game today. Right, so let's get started, and the rest of the things we'll be discussing in the video itself. Right. So here I am on my Sublime Text Editor. So this is basically my Sublime Text Editor, and here we just are going to write out the code. So first of all, I'll be just using out my Tkinter library. So from Tkinter import asterisk. Right, now basically from my Tkinter library, I'm just importing asterisk. This asterisk means that I am importing each and every function which I have in this Tkinter library. Right. Other than that, we also have another library, that is PIL. Make sure to write PIL in the capitals. Now that is basically used to put out the images, right? So from PIL, I would just write here import, and I will just import two functions. Okay, the first one is my image, and another one basically I have the image tk. So these are the two functions which are used to put out some images onto the Tkinter window if you just want to put out some. Which in our case we'll be putting out the rock, paper, and scissor images, right? So in that case I've just imported these, right? After that, I'll be importing the random module as well. As I mentioned that this is a game that will be played randomly. That is, computer will be getting some random values, and the player will also be getting some random values. Right? So from random, I'll be importing rand. Right? These are the three modules. These are the functions that we'll be using throughout the program to write out the program. Okay. Now, basically, first of all, I'll just let you know that what images you should choose for making this out. So let me open out this thing. Right, so basically I've just downloaded some images from the Google as well. These are basically for the scissor and for the paper and even for the rock as well. So these are the 6 images that I have downloaded. Now basically they are having the size of 200 cross 196. Okay, the size is 200 cross 196, right? So now that totally depends on you that how much large image you want. I have taken 200 cross 196. Right, so I hope that you're ready now with all of the images and the things with you for making out the project. So let's get started. So first of all, I'm just going to define out my Tkinter window. So for that, I would just, let's say, take a variable, and that is window, and that would be equal to tk. That would be my Tkinter window, right? So this is actually how we define out that. And I just want to set a first of all, I just want to set a particular title for my window, and that would be, so I would just write window.title, and I would just write here the title would be, let's say, game rock, paper, and scissor. This would be, let's say, my title for the window which I would be making, that is game rock, paper, and scissor. So let me just zoom in this much. Right, now basically I'm just putting out a configuration. Now that configuration, what it will actually do, so let me just write that configure. So basically you were able to see that a black background was coming onto that window that we had made, right? That was a black background window. So now I am just setting out my whole background as black. Now whatever the things I would be entering there, for that I would be just giving out some other colors. But my whole background I want to be black. So in that case I would just write window.configure and here would be background like this, okay? And I just want to set it to the black. Now basically your choice, whatever like color you want to choose, red, green, yellow, whatever you just wish, right? I have just taken the black. And at last I would just write window dot and this is main loop, that is my closing of the program. Right, now I would just do control plus S, that is I would just save this out here and try to run this. So the name for my rock paper dot py. Okay, first of all let me just clear this out everything. Right, I would just zoom in here and let me show you how to write out. So first of all you'll be writing out the Python. After that the name for the file in which you're writing out the code. So for me it is rock paper. Okay, rockpaper.py and hit enter. Right, so basically you are able to see a very small window here and that window is coming of the black background, this window. Right, so this is actually how we just make out the window and it is coming of a black color. Now basically one thing to keep here in mind, that if you are just like the buttons and the things that we had made it, we had given them a particular position, that this much row and this much column you need to place this out. So in that case if you are just giving something like this in your code, in your program, so you do not need to give a geometry to your window that you want a 500 cross 500 or 600 cross 500, something like that. You do not need to give that if you are giving the rows and columns in the main function, that you want to store this button here, you want this box here, so you do not need to give out the dimensions, right? Okay, now this is done. Now my next very thing that I'm just going to do is that I will be making out the buttons for the rock paper and scissor as you had seen previously, right? They were appearing. So I would just write out here the name for the variable, that is button underscore rock. Okay, button underscore rock. That is equal to, now this is my variable which I had made, and inside this I will be storing out my rock button. Okay, so button underscore rock, and here goes the button, right? And inside the bracket I would write the window, right? The variable in which we have stored a Tkinter window. So window comma. Now what width do I just want of that particular button? So let's say I just want the width as 16. Okay, what height do I want? Okay, so there is the height. Let's say height which I just want is 3. Okay, I will just put a comma. What text should come here? So let's say the text which I just want is rock. Okay, that is ROC and capital K. That is rock, let's say. Okay. After that, what actually font do I want to come here? Okay, what font I want? So I would just come down here and let me start writing it from this particular place. Right. So let's see the font which it is font that should be in the Arial. Okay, let me just put out the brackets like this. Now Arial, and I just want the size to be as let's say 20, and even I just want it to be bold. Right. That is completed. Now what about my background color? So for that I can just write here as BG. I can simply give BG as well here. Okay, that also works. So background color I just want to be yellow, right? And what about my font color? That is FG. So FG color, let's say I just want to be red, right? So background would be yellow and font color would be red. I would again put a comma and come on to the next line here. Now basically I would just put out a command here. So for that I would just not put out the command for now. Okay, I would just not put that command here. That will be doing the afterwards. So I will just close out the bracket here as well. Let me just go up first of all above side. Right, I have just close that. And now I would just use out a function that is grid. Okay, now grid will actually help me to put this particular button on a particular row and a particular column. Right. So let's say my row value which I just want is 2 and my column is 1. Okay. So here I just made out my rock button. Let me do control plus S, that is save it, and now I just want to go onto the partial window and run this once for a while. Right. So here you are able to see my rock button, right? It is coming here. This rock is coming. You are able to see this button, right? Okay, let me zoom in. Fine, like this, right? Okay. So now just let me close this one here for a while. Let me come down. So as I had just made it for the rock, the same procedure I'll be applying it for the paper and for the Caesar as well. Okay, so I would just write here button, that is BUTTON, button underscore paper. Now in that case I would just use this button, and into the bracket I would just write here width w, okay, sorry, not width. Firstly I would just write here as window, right? Window. After that I just want to give it a width which will absolutely remain same that we have taken previously, 16. What about my height? So height would also be same, that is my 3. And what about text? At what text actually I just want? So text I want here as paper, right? Okay. After that I would just put a comma here, and after text what I just want is the font one, right? So I would just put a comma and come on to the next line. So here we come right here. Now here I would just give out a font is equal to my bracket, and inside this I would just write the font as, let's say, first of all Arial. Then I want to give here as, let's say, 20, and after that I want to write here as bold. Let me just come down first of all right here. Okay, right, this is done. Now I would just put a comma. What about my background and my foreground color? So that will absolutely remain same as I have done it for the rock one. Okay, so my BG color goes here for the yellow. Okay, and my FG color, okay, FG color goes here as the red. Okay, I will just put a dot, and here I would just write grid. Now at what place do I just want to place it here? I just want to now place it. I just put a comma here. Now row will actually remain same. Okay, row will actually remain same. Only the value for the column will change. Row, because I just want it to be coming in the horizontal line, right? So in that case, the value for my row will absolutely remain same. Only the value for my column will change. So row 2 and the column 2. This is done. Okay, now it's the turn for my making the button for my scissor. So button underscore scissor, like this. Okay, is equal to, I would just use here button, and inside the bracket I would just write here window comma. What about the my width? So in that case it is width. Width would be absolutely same, that was previously, and that was 16. Okay, let me just come down. Right now, what about my height? So height would also be remain same, that is absolutely 3. What text do I actually want here? So text which I just want here is scissor. Right now let me put out a comma and come on to the next line here. Now I just want to define out a font here. So in that case basically the font would be my font would be Arial. First of all Arial. Size should be 20, and yes, that should be in the bold, right? And I would just put a comma. What about my BG color? My BG color should be yellow, because I want all the 3 buttons to be having the same color. If you just want to give different colors to different buttons, that totally depends on you, right? And now about the grid. Inside the grid I would just write here row would be same, and my column value will change, because I want the columns to be in the, sorry, I want all the 3 to be in the horizontal line, right? Okay, let me come this side. Let me just do Control plus S, that is save out my program which I have written, and now it's the time to run that out. So here I'm on Windows PowerShell and hit enter. So you are able to see the 3 buttons: rock button, paper button, and the scissor button. Right, so we have this completed out, making all of these 3 buttons. Fine. Now, after making out all of these 3 buttons, now what I would be just doing is that, so let's see that what function we'll be adding on here, what more things we need to add here. Okay, fine. Now I would be writing out the images. I would just putting out the images which I just want here, right? I just want to put out the images as well, right? So I would just loading out first of all of the images, right? So in that case I'm just writing the image for the rock, paper and scissor, and now you're able to see that some of the images were like they were like reverse also, right? Someone straight and someone basically the reverse of that one. So the scissor was from the left hand direction also, and from the right hand direction also. So same for the rock and same for the paper, right? So they were from the both the directions. So total we were having 6 images, right? So my computer will be on the left hand side. In that case I'm just putting out the images for the left hand side, and my my user will be on my right hand side. So in that case I'll be putting out the images for the right hand side. Okay, so that's the case reason I was having every image 2 times, but they were in the different directions, not in the same direction. Okay, write it. So basically now it's the time for putting out the images here. So right, let's start making that. So image underscore rock 1, okay, my variable name, and in that basically I would just write here image tk, okay, image tk dot photo image. This photo is image is a function which helps us to put the image bracket. Now image is the one which we have imported above from the PIL library, and I will just put a open function here. So that will basically help me to write out my and apply out my images. So my first image, that is one, I just saved it from the name, that is rock.png. Okay, I've just saved it from this particular like name, right? Second thing, image underscore, second one goes for the paper. So paper one is equal to, now same thing would be done, that is image tk dot photo image into the bracket. I would just write here image dot open, and into the bracket instead of the rock, now it's the time for the paper to come. So paper one dot png. Okay, so it's like this. Okay, same thing for my basically for my scissors. So I would just copy out this line here and paste it on the next one. So here I would just change out the name, that is image underscore scissor one. Okay, let me just come this side, and instead of this paper I would just make it to scissor, SCISSOR. Okay, this one is done. Okay, I just name for the scissor one as, I would just write this, and in the bracket as well I have one. Right, this is a name for my scissor image. Right, now for these images are ones. Okay, now second one I would just apply here. So that would be my image underscore rock 2. Okay, rock 1 and rock 2, right? In that case, basically it goes image case. Procedure will absolutely remain same. There's no change. Only a change would be for the variables and for the name of the image. So photo image into the bracket, it would be image dot open. And now basically the name for my image that I'm just trying to open is rock2.png. Okay, now just copy this line. Okay, just let me copy out this whole line, and I will just paste it here, and only I would just change out the name. So instead of rock, I would just put on here as paper, and the name for my png file as well. So here it would be paper, like this, right? Come on to the next line, and I would just do Control plus V. So here goes image, and here also goes image, and here also goes the image. Okay, I just written down the wrong spelling. Fine. So now instead of rock 2, it would be scissor 2, right? Scissor 2, and here basically goes out, and here I'll be applying the another file name, that is scissor 2, and here actually for me, okay, now that is not actually 2 for me, it is actually 1. And after that I space, and into the bracket I have written 2. This is the name for my image actually which I have taken. Right, so basically I have just loaded out all of my images which I just need to put on here. Right, now next things that come here, let me just come down from here. Okay, let me just move down first of all. Right here, now basically I just need to make the label for the user and for the computer. Right, we were having two things, the user and the computer. Right, so you were able to see the user and the computer, two things, right? So above the images, you were able to see on the left hand side user, on the right hand side, on the left hand side it was the computer, on the right hand side was the user. So now I would be making out that labels, I'll be putting out that labels, right? I was just writing out that thing here. Okay, so that goes, I would be writing the image, okay, label underscore, I'll just give it a name as player. Okay, label underscore player, and that is equal to, I will just put on label here, bracket, and I will just put on the window here. Label is the function that we are actually applying, right? Now what image should come here actually? So image which I just want is my okay, that let me check out the name, that is image underscore scissor 1, image underscore, and that would be scissor 1, this one, right? Come on to the next line. Now basically what about the another one? So in that case basically I have label is done, label for the player is done. Now it's the label for the computer, label for the computer, and I will just write here label LA like this, and into the bracket I will just write on here window, comma, what about my image? So now my image would be image underscore scissor underscore 2, like this, right? Come on to the next line, and now basically I'm just using out computer So label underscore computer dot grade. Now where to place these things? Okay, it's not the case that you need to place it anywhere. We need to place it at a particular thing, right? So now let's say my row is 1 and what about my column? So my column is, let's say, 0. Row 1 and the column 0. And what about the player? So label underscore player dot grade. Into the bracket my row is, let's say, 1 and basically my column is equal to 4. Now basically what I'm just doing is that throughout the whole program I would try to take the rows same and the columns different, because everything here is going on the horizontal way, right? One side player is working, one side computer is working, so but they are not up and down, right? The rows are not changing, only the columns are changing. The horizontal line is I just need to maintain all of these things in the horizontal line only, right? I just want all of these things to be on a same plane. So in that case, all of the times I'll be giving out the rows value same and the column values are different, right? Okay, now this thing is done. Now basically I just need to make a like folder type and a like box type in which basically the score for the player and the score for the computer will be written. Okay, so now let's write out that thing here. Okay, so now basically I would just write out the variables and take out the variables. Okay, so that variable is my variable would be player. Okay, first of all, let me just leave a line. That is okay. So I would just write, first of all, I just make it for the player and then I would just make it, or let me make it for the computer as well, first of all. Right? So, okay, computer underscore, and here I would just writing score. Okay, computer underscore score. Right here. Now, basically, what I would just do is that I would just give it a label here. Right? Label, and into the bracket, I would just pass out the root comma. Now, what about my font that I'm just gonna give? I just want to give a particular font as well here, right? So before that font, I would first of all give out the text. Okay, so now what text I just want? Text is equal to 0. First of all, what I just want is that the marks, the score for the computer and score for the player as well should be 0 only. Right, after that it should be updated according to the things that I'll be writing, according to the like score that the computer and the player would be getting. First of all, by default I just want the score to be 0, right? So in that case I just wrote text is equal to 0, comma. What about my font? So basically now my font would be, I just want it to be in the Arial. Okay, after this Arial the size should be, let's say, 60, and even I just want that to be in the bold as well. Right, this is done. Now I would just put a comma. What text should come actually there? Okay, so text should actually just come there as, let's say, computer. Okay, text should come there as computer. Okay, what about my background color? So background will be given by the BG and let's say that is orange. Right, background color is orange. And what about the FG? So font like font color is basically, let's say, blue. These are the things which I just want here to be coming, right? Now, after this computer is scored, my next thing that comes is that I need to make it for the player as well. So just write player underscore score is equal to, right? Now here I would just again use that label. Into the bracket it would be root, comma, and what about my text? My default text would be 0. After that I just need to give a font color. So that is basically the Arial, comma, it would be 60, comma, and it would be bold as well, bold, right? Now, putting out a comma here, what text do I just want to appear? So there the text which I just want to be appear is the player, okay, comma. Now basically what else we are left with? So now I just want it to be, basically text is done, right here, just 1 second. Okay, so a label is done, root is done, and the text is done, font is done. Okay, let me just do one thing. Let me just remove this text and background color from here. I just need to only and only give the font color. For that background one is just making that a new variable that will be more suitable to for us to write. Okay, so let's remove that from here. Put out the things like this 60 and the board. After that my FG color is, let's say, and I just need to change out my FG color as well. That is, let's say, red. Okay, comma, I would just write here FG is equal to, and let's say this is red as well. right? This is now okay. Now this is absolutely okay. Now there will be no changes, right? This is done, play is done, computer is done. Now I would just write here player dot at okay, so that is player underscore is score, the variable, right? Dot grid. Now basically at what grid I just want them to want these things to be placed. So grid should be, for this my row would be equal to 1 and my column for my player would be 3, right? Because like player is present on the right hand side and computer score is on the left hand side. So the direction goes from left towards the right. Okay, so player score would be this thing. And let me make it to this thing here. And after this, if I just use computer underscore score dot and grid. Okay, dot grid. And into the bracket for this, row would absolutely remain same, but column value will be lesser, that is 0. Right, as I'm told that it will be going from left towards the right direction. Right. So, okay, now it's done. Now, basically, scores are written. Now, above the scores, what I just want here now, above the scores, I want that it should even be shown that this one is for the user and this one is for the computer. This one is for the player and this one is for the computer, right? I just want these things also to appear. So now basically you'll be making out the variables and storing the things onto them, right? But before that, let me just do Control plus S, that is save it for a while from here. And let me open a PowerShell window and try to run this thing. Okay, name root is not defined. Okay, where I have just written this root. Okay, so this root will be replaced from the window. The variable which you have taken is window actually, right? So this goes like window and we are above when taken somewhere. No. Okay, now again Control plus S, that is save it out here. I need to open this thing just 1 second. I need to go to my Windows C and then users, then again user. See, just please make sure to remember one thing, that wherever you have just used that thing, right? Like wherever you have saved your project, try to run that project at that particular place only. Right now, basically what you're able to see is that your image is coming, this, okay, the 0 is actually coming above this, right? That will actually shift on its own. You do not need to worry for that, right? As soon as the things we are going to insert above, the images will absolutely they will change according to that only. Fine. So my scores are coming, my images are coming, my buttons are as well working. Right? Till now we have just made out the whole thing. Okay. Let's write out the things. Now basically what we are just going to make, we are going to make the indicators that this place is for the computer and this one is for the user. We also need to write out that thing as well, right? So let's start writing. So I would just give it a name as, let's say, player, player, P-L-A-Y-E-R, player. Okay. So the first thing is for the player. So player indicator underscore indicator, right? Now that is basically player INDI, like this. Okay. Fine. Now basically what I was just doing is that I would be taking out the first of all my label here. Inside that I was just passing on my window, comma. Now I would just putting out a font. So what is my font actually now which I would be taking? Same. That is my Arial. Font would be my Arial. Size would be 40. And basically that would be bold. Okay. After that I would just put a comma, come on to the next line. So basically here only, let's start writing. So what about, okay, font is done. After this font, what text do I just want? So text would be, just 1 second. So this one is for the player, right? So my text would be player only, player. Player, like this, okay? Put a comma, what about my background color? So my BG color now would be orange. Now in this place, we just need to give a BG color. In that case, it was not needed. But if you just want to give, you can just put a BG and then you can just give on your as well also. Okay, for FG color, that is my font color. That would be blue. Right, that is done. And I will just come down now. So play indicator is done. Now it's the time for the computer underscore indicator. Okay, indicator. Like this. Okay. Now that will be equal to the label. Into the bracket, it will be the window, comma. What about my font? So my font would be Arial, size would be 40 and it would be bold, right? All of these things are done. I would just put on a comma here. After that, what text do I just want? So text my goes here. So text now I'd be wanting here as computer, right? I would just put a comma. My BG color would remain same, that is orange. That is orange or GE like this, okay? And my FG color will also remain same, and that is basically blue, right? Come on to the next line. Now, basically, I'm just giving out the grids that at what particular position you need to put out these things. Right, so first one would be the for the player. Okay, let me just give it for the computer as well, first of all. So computer underscore indicator dot grid, and into the bracket, my row value will be row is equal to 0, and my column CO, that is like this, okay, and my column would be, okay, so computer is on the left hand side, so column would be my 1. And now it's for the player underscore indicator. So player underscore indicator dot grid. Row will absolutely remain same. That is 0. And what about my column? So my column would be 3. Right. So I would just do one more thing. Control plus S. I would just save it here. And now I would just try to run it on the Windows PowerShell. So go here. Right. Now basically you are able to see the computer and as well as the player. Right. This is coming right. Absolutely correct. It is looking wonderful. Right. Okay. Now basically I would just close this thing here as well. Okay, that 0 is coming above. Let me just check out that what we can just do. So column, instead of this column as 0, let me make the computer label computer grid. Let me make it as 1. Okay, control plus S. CTRL S, that is I'm just saving it out here, and let me just do like this. Right now it's absolutely right. It is coming under the computer, it is coming under the player. So buttons are also working. Now, I wanted my default images to be scissors. So, in that case, I just put the default images as scissors. Let me show you where I just did that thing. So, where I had just made the label for the player and label for the computer, at that particular place, I had just made these images default for the scissors. Now, you can just put here the rock as well. You can just put here the paper as well. Whatever you just wish, you can just put out. Right? Okay, that is done. Now basically we have just made out the indicators. Now next what we'll be making is that now we'll be giving out the message that you win or you lose. These message I will be giving here, right? Okay, so for that I will just make a variable that is final underscore message. Okay, final underscore message. Now basically into that I'm just writing here label, and here I'm just passing out the window, comma. Okay, window and comma. After this I would be just writing here the font. Now what type of font I want? So everything will remain same. I just want to be it in Arial, and then I just want it to be in the 40, and let's say I just want it to be the bold. Okay, so Arial 40 and bold. And I will just put a comma here. What about my background color? So BG color I just want it to be red, and what about the FG color? So FG I just want it to be white. Okay, this is done. Now where to just place this? So grade will be the final underscore message dot grid. So I just want it to be placed under the rock paper and scissors button. Okay, so in that case my row would be 3 and my column would be, okay, row 3 and the column 2. Fine, this is done. So basically I would just do control plus S, and now if I just try to run this thing once again, right, so now here you'll be able to see the red line, right? So as soon as you this like program starts playing, we just like put out the rock buttons and the paper button, see the code here. So as soon as it starts writing, so as soon as you click on any of the button, so here this red will expand and it will show you that you win or you lose. Okay, it will show you that particular cases. Fine. Now this all of these things are done. Now basically we will be coming, okay, give me some space here. Fine. Now basically what we'll be doing is that I'm just giving out some particular functions or making out some functions here for updating the message, for updating the score, and all of these functions now we'll be making out here. Right. So I will just come here. Okay. So here goes my first function. I'm just defining out a function with the def. So def, and now basically the name for my function would be that is mmsd underscore updation. GATION, message updation. Okay, I will just put out a bracket here, and here basically I just put like pass out a variable. Let's say that variable is A. Okay, come on to the next line, and I will just use out the above one which I had made, that is final underscore message, this variable. Okay, so final underscore message into the bracket I will just passing out here thing. Let's say that is basically a text. Okay, text. Okay, and now that would be equal to A, like this, right? This is now actually done. So I've just made a function for the updation of my message which will be coming, that is computer wins or basically the user wins, whosoever wins. Right now basically I'll be making out a function for updating the scores. So my first function will be made for the updating the computer score, and second I'll be making for updating the user score, right? So def. Now here basically I'll be just using it for the computer. So I will just write here computer. Okay, let me just write it some small comp. That is comp. Okay, let me write it like this, that computer underscore uh, update. Update, computer underscore update. Okay, I will just put out the bracket and put a colon. Come on to the next line. Now here basically I'm just writing out the things. So let's say I just took out a variable, and that is variable, let's say we have the scores, right? So we are just trying to update the scores here. Okay, so let me take out a variable, that is final. Okay, so final is equal to scores are in the integer, right? So integer into the bracket I would be just writing okay, into the bracket I would be just writing the variable, one variable, that is computer score, right? I would just put on here as score underscore compute. Okay, and into the bracket I would just passing out the text. Okay, come on to the next line. So here is final is equal to, okay, final plus is equal to 1. Okay, now this statement actually means that final is equal to final plus 1. That is again and again the computer scores are being incremented as soon as the computer wins. The score gets incremented, right? And at last I would just use here that computer underscore score underscore computer, in the bracket it would be text is equal to str, and into the bracket it would be string final, like this, right? So here I've just done this thing for my computer. Same thing I'll be just doing it for the user as well. So def, and that would be player underscore update, and the bracket like this, put the colon, come on to the next line. Right here, so again the variables will absolutely remain the same, that will not at all change. So final is equal to, and all of these things will actually be same only, nothing would change. Instead of the score underscore computer it would be player. So let me just copy this out here and let me paste it out as well, right? So instead of okay, it would be score only, and instead of computer it would be player. Okay, like this. And here also it would be score underscore player. Right, this it's okay basically. str is the final, right? So basically now my scores are updated for the player and as well as for the computer. Both of these things are now done. Now next thing that we are gonna do today, going to write here is that I'll be just writing out that checking out that who is the winner. Okay, this is the main part of the whole code which we are going to write. This is the main part of this particular code. Okay, so just please pay attention towards this, right? Okay, def, and now basically I would be just writing here winner underscore variable name. Into the bracket I'll be passing the two variables, the player for the player and for the computer. So I'm just writing p comma c. Okay, p comma c. P is for the player and C is for the computer. Come on to the next line here. Okay. Now I would just write if P is equal to C, that is if player is equal to computer. Put a colon, come on to the next line. Then use the update message. Update message is actually one function which we have here. Okay, update message. Now what to update a message onto that red line which we had made. So that is that okay, so let me just write out it's a tie. Okay, if the player and the computer values are same, so just mention that it's a type. Okay, elif. Elif my condition goes if player is equal to rock. If player has given out the rock here. Okay, elif p is equal to rock, and if computer is equal to the paper, that is paper. If the player has chosen the rock and if the computer has chosen the, okay, that is PAPER. Okay, if the sorry, just let me put out the tab space here. If the player has chosen the rock and the computer has chosen the paper, then in that case update the message that computer wins. Okay, in that case update the message that computer wins. That is basically you lose and the computer wins, right? Come on to the next line. And what to now update as the computer has win, right? So I would just use here computer underscore update function. Okay, let me just check out computer underscore update. Yes, this was the function. So basically this is the function for the scores, right, which we have written. So if the computer has won, so the computer score will be updated here. Come on to the next line. So if is done like this, right? Now basically for this if I would just applying here else. If this is not the condition, then basically what you need to do is that you need to write update under update message, and in the bracket you would be writing that player wins. Player wins. Okay. Okay, let me just put some exclamation marks also because that looks good here. Fine. And okay, just let me come down and here as well. And now the marks would be updated for the player. So that is player underscore update function would be called and the marks would be updated. Right? Okay. Now basically this is condition is done. Now I would just come out of the whole elif condition. Now please make sure to check out the conditions very carefully here. Okay. Next thing goes about the elif. Now if rock and paper are chosen. Now if the paper and the scissor are chosen. Okay. Elif. Yet. If the player has chosen the, okay, just one second. If the player has chosen the basically paper, okay, and if the computer has chosen the scissor, okay. Now in this case, if the player has chosen the paper and the computer has chosen the scissor, so in this case also who wins? So the computer wins here, right? So in that case, I would be just applying here that update message, and into the bracket I would just write computer wins and this, right? Other than that, we need to update the score for the computer. So in that case, computer underscore update function has been called, right? Now, if this condition does not satisfy, then I need to update the message for the player. Update the message, and here you will be writing that player wins and these exclamation marks. Let me come down first of all. Player wins, right? And I would just come down here, and after that I would just update the score for the player. So player update function has been called, right? Now my last condition for is that let me come down and go back. First of all, let me check out the line. Here it is, right here. Now, last one goes here for the elif. Now, elif if player has chosen the scissor, if player has chosen the scissor, and if computer has chosen the rock. So this is also the case where the computer wins. So in that case, update message inside the bracket, write that computer wins and the mark. Right, come on to the next line. I will be calling out the computer underscore update function. So the marks for the computer would be updated. And this is not the case, then you need to write the update message, and into the bracket you need to write that player wins. Okay, that the player wins. And you need to now call out the player underscore update function and the bracket. Right, done. And if coming out, just let me write out my else condition as well, else, and here will be pass, simply pass, right? So this thing is done. Now we have written out the main thing for the whole code, and here I had just made out the function that was winner underscore check and P and C were passed, and all of these things are actually written out here. Now just again come out of the function, right? Now basically here I would be just giving a variable, okay, that is, let's say, select, SELE select. Okay, that is to underscore select, SELECT. Okay, to underscore select. Now here actually we are just not writing rock paper or scissors, something like this. We are not writing this thing, right? What we are doing is that we are simply working all of the things through the images, right? So in that case I need to update the choices as well, right? I need to update the choices with the help of the images only. I cannot do this thing simply like this, right? I cannot do that thing right here, that I just need to write the rock and the rock image will come. So I need to work it through the images. So for that I would be making a list, and in that list I'll be writing out the rock, comma, paper, comma, and the scissor. Rock, paper, and scissor, the variables, and these are the rock, paper, and scissor which I have used here for my conditions. Okay, fine. So after this I'll be just making a function to update the choices. So def choice underscore update. Okay, and into the bracket that same variable will be passed, and that is a, which we have passed above. Let me show you where. So it was here, message updation. Okay, it was here. Now basically here what I'm just using is that I would be using it with the help of the images which we have taken. Okay, that I'll be just using it with the help of the images which we have made. Okay, now I'm just making out the function we had already made. Now I'm just writing out the further things to this. Let me just come down first of all here. Right, the update choice is done. Now just hit enter, and first of all I'm just doing it for the computer. Okay, first of all I'm just writing it for the computer. So okay, so I have choice underscore computer is equal to my variable which I had made, that is to underscore select. Okay, now as I told that everything would be working as random, right? So in that case now I am just giving the rand integer, that is 0, 2. Why I am just giving here 0, 2? Because I have three choices. The indexing in the list start from the 0. So rock will be having the index as 0, paper will be having the index as 1, and the scissor will be having the index as 2. 0, 1, 2. Rand integer 0, 2. What it will do actually, it will select any of them 0, 1 or 2 randomly from the whole list which we are having. Okay, come on to the next line. Now if choice of computer, if choice underscore computer is equal to rock, if the computer has chosen rock, okay, that is basically my first index, then in that case, so img underscore computer, image underscore computer is okay, dot config, and into so that is dot configure. Okay, so image underscore computer dot configure, and in the bracket I would just use image is equal to, I would be using the images which I have taken here, right? So that image would be my number 2 images. Remember that I have taken 1 and the 2. I have taken 2, right? 1 as well as the 2. So now here I'm just taking these 2 images, right? So that one are for from my side of the computer. Only direction matters, right? So that would be image underscore rock 2. Okay, as I have chosen 2, so that would be image underscore rock 2, right? Same. If this is not the condition, elif, I will be applying elif choice underscore computer is equal to paper. If the computer has chosen the paper, then again I will be just using image underscore computer dot configure, and in the bracket what would be the image? So the image would be image underscore paper 2, right? And elif, and now here goes my else condition, else image underscore okay, img image underscore uh, computer is equal to rock is done, paper is done. Okay, if image underscore computer dot configure, okay, dot configure, into the bracket it is image is equal to, and let me put the spaces, and that would be image underscore scissors 2, right? This is done. Now this one is done for my computer. Same procedure will be applied for the user as well, right? So okay, come on to the next condition. So here I will just apply some conditions as well, right? So it is done for the this basically computer. Now for the user I would just apply the other conditions. Come here again, okay? Now tab spaces, and here basically now condition goes for the user that if now I would just use that variable which I have passed above, okay? If a is equal to rock, okay, then you need to change the img underscore user. Previously we had made computer, now it's the user, and instead of user I will just try to make it player, okay? So image underscore player dot configure, and now here I'm just using the images that were from the name as one. So image is equal to image underscore, okay, this is the scissors one, image underscore rock 1, okay? Come back here this side. Now basically what I would just do is that I would be writing out the elif condition, okay? Elif a is equal to elif a is equal to the paper. Elif a is equal to the paper colon, and I would write I image underscore, and that is for my player dot configure, okay, just one single I configure, okay, and into the bracket it is image is equal to image underscore, this one is for the paper, right? So I would just add here paper, okay, let me just first of all come down so that I can even see paper 1, right? It is for the paper 1. And now basically my last condition goes here for the else, and that is for my scissor. So else, and here I would just apply image underscore player dot configure, into the bracket it is my image, and that, okay, that is image, image is equal to, and that would be image underscore scissors 1, right? I have just done that thing. Now just come out here basically, and now basically, okay, just hit enter, and let me just take this folder backside, and here what I would just do, I would write out the variable. So take win. Now basically we had made out the functions, right? Above we had just make out the function that was in which we have written the rock and the scissors, all those things. That was winner underscore check, right? Let me just come out here, and now basically I would just call out the function that is winner underscore check, and into the bracket I will just pass on the parameters for which I have put on the condition. I put it for a, and what I have just taken for the computer I have just taken as choice underscore computer. So that would be choice underscore computer, right? And here we complete out the whole code written which we have to write out for the this rock paper and scissor program. So now basically what I would just do is that I would, okay, just one second, let me just come down for a while, and right here I would just do control plus S, that is control plus save, go on to my partial window and hit enter here, right? So now my images are coming properly, my computer player, everything. If I just click on the rock, okay, so okay, sorry, I just need to hit out the command as well here. I just need to write out the command function. Just one second. Inside this rock paper and scissor buttons, I need to write out the command, that which command to follow actually after this comma, right? Now inside the command basically what we will be writing, so I would just write here command. Now inside the command basically I would just write here command is equal to, and that would be lambda function. First of all I would just use out my lambda function, and after that we had made a function for the updation of my choices, right? We had just made out the function for the, and that was choice underscore update, right? So I would be just using out that choice underscore update function, okay? So let me just go here lambda, and here it is choice underscore update. Now inside the choice underscore update what I would just do is that I would just put on the rock here for the while. So the same procedure would be applied for all the three. The command would be rock here first, okay, control plus C. After this basically the second one would be for FG is equal to red, and that would be for my paper. So instead of this rock, it will come here as paper. Okay, and the last one for would be for my scissors, right? So let me just come here, and even let me just come down first of all, right here, and I would just put a comma here again. That is copy paste, and let me just scroll to another side. So instead of this rock, it would be the scissor like this. Right now, this is absolutely okay. Now, okay, just 1 second. So instead of this, it would be like this. Right now, I would just again do Control plus S. That is for save. Control plus S, and go on to my partial window and hit enter. Right now, if you just click on the button, okay, so it is basically giving me some error. Let's see. So image underscore comp is not defined. So okay, let me check out the line number which we have taken. Line number is actually it is 87. Okay, line number 87. Let me just go above here and right here. Okay, this is my 87. So image underscore comp is not defined. It is asking saying, but why it is saying me the same? Image rock 2 is done. For the paper it is done. Image underscore computer, for the computer it is actually done. And let's go above and let's see that here. Okay, so let's see it here, image underscore rock and label player. Okay, let's see that basically what's the error. Let me come down once again, find here. Okay, so basically here what we had done is that we had already defined out the things above. That is the, let me show you where. So it was the label right here. So these were the labels actually which we have defined here. So we just need to put out that labels only here instead of this image computer and the image player. Right. So for that basically we have a very good thing that I just can use the replace one here. Let me just first of all go above here. Let me just put out myself here. And here what I can just do is that I can just remove this everything. Like this also. Now here I would just write image and okay. Here I would just write that what I just need to find, that is image underscore comp. Okay, I need to find this and I just need to update this with the help of, let me go above, that is label underscore computer. I need to update it with the help of this. So here I would just write label underscore computer and I would just do replace all. So this will actually be replaced on its own. Let me show you. For the computer, have a look that it has been changed, right? Let's do the same thing for the player as well. So I would just go on the replace one. So instead of this now computer, it would be player. Okay, and label computer will give us here the label player. Let me just go above and check this out once on my site. Here we go, and that is, yeah, label underscore player. That is done, and replace all. So fine, so come down and have a look that it has been replaced here as well, label underscore player. Right now, apart from this, what I just need to use is that instead of using this update message would work. But if I had made this update message with the name of this particular function, if I just replace this with the help of this function, so that would have helped. So basically in that case, you can just do two things. The first thing that you can apply is that you can just change the name of this function to update message. Or the second thing that you can change is that you can change this name of the update message to the function name which we had made, that was message underscore updation. So I would just do here update message name. That would actually like reduce our work a little bit. Right now, other than that, basically I have one more thing. We had already defined the functions for the score, right? We had already defined out this functions for the score. So in that case, basically I just need to put out that particular only which I have defined above, right? Which we have already made actually. That only I just need to define it out here. Okay, let me first of all come down and let me show you that where I'm just asking these things to do to you. Right, first of all, let me now just quickly save it out and let me run that. So that in that case, you'll be able to get the things more clear. Now, see, if I just click on the rock, see, now it is showing me that the score computer is not defined, right? So in that case, I just need to close this. Okay, I'm so sorry, just close this partial window. Now, we'll just take out that where we had used the score underscore computer. Now, in that case, actually, what we had done, we had already made the scores for the computer player and the player score, computer score and the player score. So, I just need to replace the name from that particular only. So, let me just go above. here, and let me just remove out this score for the computer and let me write it as computer underscore score. Okay, and here also let me write it out computer underscore score. So for the player as well, we had already made above, and that was, I just need to write here player. Okay, that was, yeah, player underscore score, and here also it is basically player underscore score. Now just let me go to that folder once again and try to access my PowerShell window. So open PowerShell here. So let me just close this as well. Okay, did I save? I do not know. I would just click on Control plus S once again. I would just click on this, and yes. Now basically what will happen as I click on this rock. So basically see what it shows me. It shows me that the player wins. So basically our program is running absolutely correct, right? As soon as I click on this rock, it is basically the player has been turned to rock and the computer is same. Okay, let me click on the player paper. Now, see, the image for the paper has been changed. So in that case, my player won, right? If I just click on the C, so in that case, Caesar, right? Now, if I just click on the rock as well, once again, so see now, basically my computer has won, right? If I click on the paper, then basically this has won, it's a tie, and all those things are actually coming here, right? So again, it's a tie. Then again, it's a tie. Okay, then now Caesar, it's a tie. Basically, it's giving me some things as well, right? Now, basically, I hope that you have got a clear and a fair idea how you can make a rock, paper and scissor game with the help of the GUIs, a GUI project, with the help of the Tkinter library, how you can put out the functions, how you can just do all of the things into this particular project, right? So I hope that you have enjoyed making out this project and you had made this project at your end as well, right? So this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and take care.